Welcome to this EN 331 presentation on classroom techniques. In this presentation, we will explore an inventory of techniques and exercises that you can use in the ESL classroom to bolster your practice of communicative language teaching. In earlier presentations, we've already gone through the ins and outs of speaking in the classroom, but let's put it all together in context. We know that we're going to be interacting and that there will be lessons and that we'll be working in groups of various levels and skills. But what guides the overall set of activities? And what kinds of activities do we have to choose from? When teaching adults, as we learned, the classroom is slightly different than when teaching children. Adults flourish in a student-centered classroom where they can construct meaning from the material that they're given exposure to. That means that the teacher may not want to always use techniques that are overly controlled. According to Brown, this type of control fits our traditional notion of learning, where the teacher's the center, and students and activities are highly manipulated, answers are firm and programmed, and there's little flexibility or surprise. Fortunately, there exists a continuum that involves techniques that are also semi-controlled and free. As you move away from the idea of the teacher as the center of control, the more open techniques loosen up the classroom and give us the opportunity to be unpredictable, communicative, and to go off script a little bit. Let's take a look at a few examples of each type of technique and when they might be useful. Examples of controlled techniques include group warm-ups, scripted role-playing, lectures, reading aloud, drills, translations, teacher-led review, and conventional testing. These are things that are found in a standard classroom, and they're generally successful. It's not that you don't want to use these types of exercises, it's just that you want to think of them as tools in a wider toolbox. So if we look at semi-controlled techniques, we can compare them to the controlled techniques. Some examples of semi-controlled techniques include storytelling, cued but not dictated dialogue, group and peer review, and your structured information exchange and transfer exercises. You can see how these exercises can open up the classroom. Though they're still implemented and guided by the teacher, they give a lot more room for students to interact with one another outside of strict exercises and enable the teacher to use CLT techniques to float in and out of activities that are happening in the room. The students begin to take the center of the exercises. Finally, free techniques take it a step further and generally involve independent and group work by teams and exercises that students can even design themselves. These include games, completely unscripted role plays and dramas, problem-solving activities, simulations, one-on-one interviews, verbal presentations, and student design reports. Large projects where the work takes place further away from the teacher are also free techniques. So how do they all work together in a classroom? Generally, you can structure your lessons so that there are components of each. This provides some guidance from the teacher to solidify the topic, but allows space for the students to construct their own meanings from interacting with the material in semi-structured and free ways. Everyone understands things differently, and as we've learned, there are different types of intelligences. In the ESL classroom, variation is always welcome. An important dimension that you can add to your classroom that fits with all three techniques is the use of computer-aided learning and social media. You will have to do an assessment to see what kind of access your students will have in the classroom and at home on computers or mobile devices. But if it's feasible logistically, this is an area where you can even add more independence. You can create a course Facebook page, show YouTube videos in class, create a course wiki, or even help students connect on Twitter. The possibilities are limitless. Just remember that you can expand the reach and influence of your classroom while also letting the student build his or her ESL education constructively. Thank you for watching this EN 331 presentation on learning techniques in the classroom.